This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
The aftermath of every social revolution brings about change. Cultural norms and landmarks shift as our minds and hearts expand beyond the familiar. To everything, there is a season and a time to every purpose in the land of the living. This is our time to renew, revive, and restore the hope lost to the busyness of life. This is our time to dig again and rebuild from the storms of our past on a solid footing that holds. Welcome to The Foundation.
The Foundation.
The Foundation with Heart Grant is brought to you by Alive, Burger King, Commonwealth Bank, Da Vinci Printing Innovators, Pindertal, Printmasters, Bronze Electric Motors, and Wendy's.
Foundation. The Foundation. The Foundation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant and your company, The Foundation, live and in full effect on this absolutely gorgeous Tuesday afternoon, March 11th, 2025. I pray that you guys are good. My wife is going to be celebrating her 16th birthday tomorrow. Yes, lock me up. I'm worse than Drake, obviously, because every year this is what we have to do as men. Yeah, we got to tell you our wife is a teeny bopper. Amen. Praise God for her. She's going to be celebrating her birthday tomorrow, but I think, if I'm going to be honest with you, this has been 11 days of absolute torture. Every morning, you didn't say happy birthday to me. You know, this is my birthday month. I got to get my birthday nails. I got to get my birthday hair. I got to get my birthday this, that, together. And so if your wife is celebrating your birthday, guys, you know that we have to at least, cord off the entire month, comment there that particular month that they're celebrating and say happy birthday to them. Happy birthday, baby doll. She don't like me calling all her name and all the government name and everything like that. So happy birthday, my dear. And I pray that the Father continues to be able to bless you for the stress that I've put you through as a human being. Amen. You are a good, decent woman. I think that's where the virtuosity in women come from. The endurance of the indifference that exists with their husbands. Is that? Yeah, I don't know whether or not you could be virtuous and simultaneously single. I don't know if that big. There's nothing to test the virtuosity. You need a husband to stress you out. Amen? To identify whether or not you sustain this thing. Now we could say, oh my God, it's a virtuous woman because I know you. You is an idiot. Praise God. As a man. Yeah, that's what we get. So my wife's going to be celebrating her birthday tomorrow, and she hasn't told me whether or not we're going to be able to do anything. She asked me whether or not I want to go to the spa with her to get my feet done and my hands or whatever the case may be. This is your birthday. Don't fight me. I mean, I like the idea, but don't fight me, right? Celebrate your birthday. Have a good time, man. All those persons who celebrated your birthday this month, I want to say happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you, my baby girl. Well, the second girl, right? My first girl, second child. She's going to be celebrating her birthday in about 5 days. She's getting to be a big girl and a woman. Let me be decent. As parents, we still have this kind of a lingo. But she's getting up there in age. And, it's time to be able to make a decision. And I just need to know how many cows do I trade for? No, I just... That's what I said to her. I said, listen to me. You can't get married. This man going to have to have a big cow, a couple of them, and a couple of goats before I decide to trade off in these particular instances. She said, daddy. So happy birthday to all those persons who are celebrating your birthday, guys. In this month of March, and this is an exciting time in the third month of the year. There are, relentless conversations swirling about politics, swirling about, who's going to be doing what and what possibly is going to be happening. It's too much. And I want to be able to talk a little taste about it today and be able to do that. But I got to shout out my good, decent people over at AFS Insurance Agents and Brokers. They got everything laid out for you. Make sure you go and check them out. They're located number 407 Blue Hill Road South. So you can go down there and check them out. Get yourself prepared. We're still at the top of the week, so we're not 2 weeks in, not just yet. So if you're born in the month of March and you haven't got your car insured and whatnot, you can go down there and check them out, and they'd be more than happy to check for you. Just ask for Mr. Richardson or just ask for Mr. Bowe, and they'll be more than happy to help you in those areas. Guys, go and check it out, man. It's time for you to be able to do that. Give them a call, 341-1AFS, 341-1AFS. Guys, pick up your Guardian newspaper. All the information's in there. I know it's 12 o'clock in the day, but if you haven't read it, make sure you go and check that out. Prime Minister FNM is unchanged. Economic hardship preceded Dorian. COVID-19, this is what Davis says, right? Are unchanged, if I want to be able to be honest with you. He says, wrapping up the debate in the mid-year budget yesterday, the Prime Minister, Philip Brave Davis, sought to make a case for why his party should be re-elected, right? And, oh, Jesus, listen to me. Michael Jackson. Listen, guys, check me out, GuardianTalkRadio.com, GuardianTalkRadio.com. I don't know what big event that Garth is going to today, but he's shining today. Shining. God, you look good. Praise God for you. Here with us, ladies and gentlemen. So he starts to talk about this, right? Says, Madam Speaker, let me remind the Leader of the Opposition when he was on the other side of the chamber, sitting in the government, defending the very policies that strangled opportunity, that pushed the Bahamians into hardship and failed to deliver on every promise they made. This is what he said. He said, because, Madam Speaker, what we see today is a government that inherited an economy in crisis and turned it around, right? I don't necessarily know about the turnaround thing. I accept with the inheritance, right? But I don't know about the turnaround. He says, we have seen, I think the country was in clear economic hardship from 2002. Well, 2002 to the end of that particular season. So essentially what you are inheriting is something that has actually been grandfathered in from way back 2-3 decades ago. And so I accept what he's saying. And for the most part, this has been a lot of the atrocity from an economic standpoint that's been heaped on this pile of rubble and passed over from one political organization to another. And so to be able to place all of the blame of the economic hardship that the country endures, that we suffer on the Free National Movement's last political dispensation, administrative dispensation, I don't know whether or not that is accurate. I don't know that, but he's making a political point to be able to say that this is the opportunity that should be afforded in these areas. But I don't necessarily know if I agree with that. High-level meetings in the Bahamas on Haiti mission, on the Haitian mission, and then you could be able to see this. It says more transparency needed over the SpaceX deal. This is what Kerry says, being able to talk about those things and find out the next steps that needs to happen. So guys, pick up the papers and see exactly what Minister raises questions over the Bahamas moorings deal, right? And I have a lot of questions I'd like to raise about certain agitation also, if we are going to be absolutely honest. Well, Garth, say good afternoon to the people out there. You're sitting with me today. Let them know that you're out here. And tell us what this is a special occasion for with this nice shirt.
Man, stop it, man. Stop it. We in the Bahamas. But it's always a pleasure to be with Howard Grant, the foundation, you, the listeners, Guardian staff. Shout out to you all. A whole lot going on. I'll tell you what's on my mind today, Howard Grant. I just want to give the people just a historic reminder as to the effort that you made to do your own independent poll of the politics as it is in the Bahamas. And I do anticipate another poll will be coming forthwith, as there are speculations of snap elections or soon coming elections as we break down the various candidates and those who may be aspiring or those who will be on the opposition ticket for the Free National Movement, as well as for those probably on the third party's ballots. And so I'm going to look forward this year, as you continue to stay tuned into the foundation, to participate in that conversation. But I did enjoy the last poll, Howard Grant. I think you did a fabulous job. There were those who wanted to criticize but for lack of better understanding how many of us are capable of doing such a poll. And I think over the past, we have had foreign entities that conducted polls on our politics locally. But I do believe locally itself, there are very few people in our country who's actually conducted one. And you would happen to be one of those people that have done so. So I just want to give you a public thank you for that, because I'm really anticipating and looking forward to the next poll.
I heard you yesterday. I got a couple of telephone calls. Says to me, Howard, Shivago's talking about you on the show. So I said, what?
Oh, we in political season. We in political season.
Now
Jesus
listen,
Lord.
I
Season.
often get these calls.
You get these calls?
I often get these calls.
Okay.
Right? Howard, this one say something about you on this show. Howard, this one say something about you.
You get us with the sister. Go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead.
I never bother with it. No, I'm Jen. I heard you yesterday.
Yeah.
I heard you yesterday.
What I try to do is you do too, Howard. We have to fix the foundation. We got to get a conversation where the brilliant minds can actually get together and work as a team. We continue to look at colors. We continue to look at experiences. We continue to look at backgrounds and say, you know what? I'm not like you. I'm better than you. I can do it better than you. And the country is not benefiting for that. When you look at the third parties, so many brilliant people were part of third-party politics in this country, but they could never get themselves together. The FNM is a wonderful organization. We appreciate their presence, but once again, you've always said, Howard Grant, it's a dissident organization, and they continue to have infighting. I mean, we're just saying what it is.
I only repeat what they tell me.
Yeah, and then I tell people,
how the spirit of dissidence still exists within the Free National Movement. This is what they tell me.
And then, of course, the Progressive Liberal Party is the party of challenge throughout the region. It has a great track record, but you also know that when you think the PLP is dead, I go back to the term grassroots. I know that right now, all of our lawns who are not cared for by a landscaping company look dead, Howard. It's brown. You would think there's no coming back, but the minute rainfall touches that brown, it turns green. And that's why I keep trying to remind the FNM that if you're waiting on a default victory, I wouldn't count my eggs, if I may say so, on this election. This one I do believe is going to be different because the generation is different, Howard Grant. It's much different. And if these young people decide they're going to vote in this election, I think we can have some rude awakenings.
You know, Shivago said something yesterday as I was listening into him for that short period as he was being able to talk about this, because I got a call and I just check it out. Mm-hmm. And I was texting him the same time. And being
you was?
I was texting him the same time. I was listening to him, texting him, because I wouldn't call in. Right? I got my own space. I didn't need to call him on the show, right? So I wouldn't call him. But I was texting him the same time as he was being able to give his discourse. And one of the things that popped out to me, he says, political organizations, and I surmise it, political organizations find themselves defeated if they represent one or two characteristics, if they're not unified or if they're perceived to be corrupt. Mm-hmm. And I thought about this and I said to myself, is this the reason why we keep going as a nation between the FNM and the PLP? I had to ask myself that, because both organizations embody at least one of those elements. This lack of unification is something that has been evident in the Free National Movement over the past 2.5 decades. Mm-hmm. Okay? This infighting that exists in all organizations has spilled out into the public sphere. And this perceived corruption has been sowed, tethered, attached significantly to the PLP for a generation now. Mm-hmm. Right? For the 70 years that they know their organization to be in existence, at least 40 of those years, they have been perceived an organization of corruption. Right? And they haven't done enough, in my view, to be able to shake that perception. Mm-hmm. Even now, in 2025, with allegations that's levied against individuals who've gone AWOL from within the uniform arm of the government, simply because the PLP is in this strategic position. Mm-hmm. And though we have all this information to indicate that this investigation started all the way back in May of 2021, this is still levied against the PLP. This perception, this perceived corruption is still levied against the PLP. They got to take the whole blow.
The whole blow?
The whole blow.
They can't take half or three-quarter?
No, and they can't even share this because they've done nothing to separate themselves from this perceived corruption that existed prior. This idea of corruption that loomed like a dark cloud, right? Like that cloud of smoke that billowed up into the atmosphere the other day. That is the perceived corruption of the PLP that stood strong over and towered over everything, that they've done nothing to dissipate over the years, in my view. Well, they've made some modifications to their constitution, right? And I was supposed to be able to talk with Raynard Rigby. I'm still waiting to have that good conversation with him. They've made some modifications to certain aspects of things to be able to show you that they've made adjustments to some things. But as soon as something happens socially, if they're in position, it's the PLP's fault.
But I think you've made note on your program previously that it has been noted that the Bahamas is by and large corrupt when it comes to doing business. I think we found that to be so. It was publicized in the newspaper. We've noticed as well that there has been some allegations and speculations as to corruption also in the Free National Movement. And so when we look at what corruption was and what it now is, and knowing that many people who are now Free National Movement members have come out of the PLP, is corruption something that continues to be a cancer in our society that's going to spread? And so even if you had a third party that came into play, there is going to be an expectation that some corruption is also going to be there as well. We cannot say that any one particular party or independent candidate is going to be insulated or free from the acts of corruption.
My cousin and I had a conversation yesterday. He called me from California, and he just talked to him about, and he's listening right now. He listens every day, right?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he listens every day. So, and I started to talk to him about this sort of an idea that, I wanted to go back to 8 Mile Rock and try to be able to, institute these particular concepts and so forth and so on. He said, for what? And he got like livid. He was angry with me. He was angry with me because he knows me personally. He knows me as an individual. He knows the hardship that I would have gone through in my initial pursuit, the hardship that I would have gone through, the family hardship that we would have gone through, even the secondary approach to be able to do this, right? And now that I've, kind of divorced myself entirely from this and being able to pursue something different, like on radio, he says to me, he said, why do I want to get back into this? He said, this is a corrupt thing. And if you get in it, it's going to be corrupt. I said, listen. Everything can't be corrupt. Mm-hmm. I said, everybody can't be corrupt in this thing. I said, I'm not even doing this with the affiliation of any political organization. I said, if I do this, it'll be contingent on whether or not the Boundaries Commission does this particular thing, and I'll go independent, right? And he says, for what? And he gets like real angry, right? And he said, they corrupt. I said, listen, it's impossible for the Constitution to be corrupt. It's impossible for the Constitution to be corrupt. So he says, yeah, well, the Constitution wasn't written for black people. I said, no, we weren't self-governed during the time the Constitution was read into the ears of the Bahamian populace in 1964. Mm-hmm. We were still under, I think the UBP had been formed by that point. We were still under that colonial power that existed in this particular space. Mm-hmm. I said, so the different dispensations of leadership should have made the strategic modification if they had gone through it to say, okay, we could change this, and they haven't done those things. I said, but that doesn't negate the fact that I should be able to, I need a platform. I need a strategic platform to stand up and say, this is what I would do in this particular constituency, even if it's a template. To be able to talk about those things, right? And so when we look at that, we have to look at the entire system. People perceive this system as corrupt. They perceive these particular elements as corrupt. But the truth of the matter is that the Constitution, the desires, the heart, the songs that was sang, the poems that was written for this country, these things aren't corrupt.
Okay, so let me put this into perspective for you. Let's just say you're the Messiah for 8 Mile Rock, and you have the ultimate plan, and you're prepared to execute this plan. What part of the Bible, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, when you read the account of Jesus Christ, the account the rock, and all the rest of those attributes, you don't understand? Here comes a Messiah, a perfect individual with a perfect plan. But at the end of the day, the masses of people are corrupt. The chief priest was the one who actually put Jesus Christ to death, the person in charge of the church. Because why? A week before that, he went into their temple, into their house, and turned the tables over and called them a den of thieves. So who are you talking to? So you go to the government. Is the government corrupt? The priests know the government corrupt. The government knows the priests corrupt, taking crown land and all type of favors, all kind of concessions. And so together the church and the state comes against a Messiah and they crush you. And the people say, crucify him. Give us Barabbas. This is the system that we fight on a daily basis. The reason why you, Howard Grant, I deem this, that you fight, is because it's within you to fight. There's going to be no merits given to you for fighting. There's going to be no accolades for you fighting. All there's going to be for you fighting is sacrifice. And for those people who can appreciate your sacrifice, there's going to be a reward. There's going to be reward. Some people who are blind can now see, who deaf could now hear, who couldn't walk before can now walk. Water can be turned into collect. I mean, whatever you want it to be. But only a few people are going to appreciate this. Why? Because that is the nature of systems. We have always said that you said the Constitution is a system that is not corrupt. And I will join you in that.
It can't be.
It can be, right? So why is it then that we have a immaculate Constitution, as your cousin said, that was not written for us, and we look at ourselves as being a Christian nation and we can't get it right?
Because times have changed. When I was young, I used to wear one small pants. It was small, but with every dispensation of growth, I had to change that. My legs didn't change is the operation of what it worked with. My body didn't change in terms of the DNA what existed within me. The external usage of what I needed so I can operate in life is the only thing that changes. The Constitution is a livable document that needs modification for different dispensations.
Are we prepared to modify?
Of course we have to be.
Who is prepared to do that?
If our leaders are not prepared to stand up and
Your
make
leaders
the
are not
necessary,
prepared to do that.
then this is why we agitate. And that is what I do. That's all I do.
Yeah.
That's all I do.
But they're not prepared to do that.
That's okay. It's okay.
And this is why
I can be an idiot for doing what I'm doing. But there's a hill that every one of us have to die on. Whether that's conviction, whether that is the position that you've taken, there is something that you have to do that you would say, this is a part of who God's Roseboro is.
Yeah, but there was the Bahamas Constitution Party who wanted to change certain situations in the Constitution itself or to enforce it, but ain't nobody recognizing them. Why? Because for the Bahamian people, the whole biblical significance of our own Constitution that allows each one of us to actually be a citizen of this country and benefit as heirs and successors of this country, we don't even friggin' respect that.
I'm going to talk to you when I come back about this particular thing. So I read this book, right? I'm reading this book, right? And I told you about it. The new, it's called The New Confessions of an Economic Hitman, right?
Oh, I heard about that book.
All right. It's an excellent book. It's written by John Perkins. And John Perkins discussed these particular things. And when I get back, I want to tell you about Kermit Roosevelt in 1953. He's the grandson of Teddy Roosevelt. This is what I learned in the book. The concept and idea of this manipulation, that it's strategic manipulation of being able to shift governments to be swayed in one direction or another, was this inception started in 1953 after the Second World War, when they didn't want to start a new war, but they wanted to be able to capture Iran and pull it down.
Let's talk about it then.
Let's talk about these particular things. And I'm trying to make you to understand that there is a grander scheme here.
Well, I know that.
And we got to deal with some things.
I could go all the way to the bottom of the tongue of the ocean with you on this one, if you want to.
Despite the grander scheme that we have here, we have a responsibility to stand, either for the corrupt that we perceive or for the conviction that we retain. You got to stand on something. Quick break. Gonna be right back after this.
The foundation. The foundation. Foundation.
Do you have uncontrollable debt? Are you ready to make that move to Fidelity for a stress-free future? These loans have a built-in savings plan that pays you unbeatable interest. Ask about our debt consolidation loans today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Why settle for the typical burger when you can indulge in the Steakhouse Bacon Whopper at BK? The king is raising the stakes with a masterpiece that combines all of your favorite steakhouse flavors. A juicy flame grilled beef patty topped with A1 steak sauce, crispy onion, savory bacon, Swiss cheese, creamy peppercorn aioli with fresh lettuce and tomato. It's a steakhouse experience you can hold. Crafted the BK way. The Steakhouse Bacon Whopper is bursting with flavor. Only available for a limited time at Burger King Nassau.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation.
And we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio, Howard Grant and your company, The Foundation, live and in full effect. Garth, I like talking like this.
I know you do.
I like talking like
But let's
this.
go to the bottom of the tongue of the ocean.
I like talking like this.
Or Dean's Blue Hole.
I like, you see, because a lot of people operate in a superficial aspect based upon the information that they would have garnered over the years. They don't necessarily, there's no need. God, these are nice glasses.
Okay.
So you pimping today.
Let me take it out of your
You're doing
mind.
too much today.
Howard, I have a huge closet full of clothes that I don't wear.
You are pimping today.
My favorite clothes in life is old clothes, mashed up
Frisco.
clothes. I like to work outside. But if I do this, I get too much attention. Like, how you giving me too much attention right now?
I'm sorry.
I can start putting back on my rags, man.
No, I'm sorry. You're pimping today. I'm not gonna fight you. So listen. Let's get back to this. Right now, let's get to this. Now, when you identify these things and you break it down and you start to identify that you could listen to men, you could listen to men who we have deemed and identified as learned men throughout the course of our community.
Learned men.
These are learned men, right?
Astute.
However, their lessons has been, and their dedication has been to the ode of their order. Okay? Their lessons, listen, the Word of God says to study to show thyself approved.
Okay.
Right? Now, that could be in a strategic area, or that could be as a man, with the wisdom that you seek, you have to be expansive in your approach.
I understand.
Okay. So the confined, isolated, strategic study, the pinhole study that you look through, you can't judge the world through that particular lens.
No, you can't.
You got to step back and understand and have a greater appreciation for different experiences.
A wider zoom.
A wider, you have to have a panoramic view when you're dealing with certain aspects of things. And so when I look at this here and I identify these, don't laugh.
I laugh because I sent something in the back. They sent you on this tangent, but go ahead.
Don't laugh. I just want to be decent.
Yeah,
right?
I know you're trying to be, but I got you. I didn't read you, but go ahead.
Right?
Go
Listen,
ahead.
and I understand these particular things. Our responsibility is not to the Free National Movement. That's not what I do here. That's not why I name my show The Foundation. That's not why I carve out these particular conversations. That's not why I strategically identify persons and pull them in a way that we could be able to talk about who we are to the inception of this country, the inception of a nation. The show is called The Foundation, so we can get back to the core of the being that we were prior to the political interference, prior to the religious interference, prior to all these external cultural interferences. We get back to the core of who we are as a people and realign ourselves in faith. This is why my show is called, this is the only reason I do this. I promise you. Every conversation, and you know this, there are significant times when you feel overwhelmed, you come here, you cuss out everybody and say, hold on, God. We have an obligation in this particular space. My obligation is to no political organization. It's not to the government. It's not to any of these entities. It is to the Bahamian people for which we stand.
But Bahamians can't comprehend that, Howard.
But it don't matter what their comprehension is capable, what they're capable of comprehending now. That don't matter.
In this
because
country,
if you start off with milk and everyone keep giving you milk, when the hell you can taste meat?
These people just want the milk. I had a conversation about that this morning.
But it's okay. Everyone can eat, drink, eat meat. But every conversation ain't for people either.
Okay, so this conversation is for the people who want meat or those who eat meat. Once they receive the dish of meat, right, a plate full of meat, my issue in this country is that those who can comprehend exactly what you're saying do not sit or stand as you do. They stay in their corner, they cower.
Because they fear.
And I just used the word
because
cower.
Because they are afraid.
They cower. And I'm like, okay.
They are afraid.
As long as they cower, then what is the progress rating for such effort?
They are afraid. The only way they agitate and perpetuate and amplify the message that was given to them and delivered to them and don't seek knowledge and information outside of the confines of what they have been taught and what they know is because they cower. They are afraid.
What makes them afraid, Howard?
I don't know. The fear that you can't take care of your wife, your responsibilities, your bills, your this, you can lose something because somebody can give you something. That means you don't have no faith. That means you never had conviction. That means everything that you said to me was a lie because it came from the point of being able to secure you and not a very clear understanding that there is a God above, that there is conviction that I have a responsibility because all of us are but men and we are filthy rags and will fall to the ground and die.
When they see, just for an example, the person of Edmund Moxie from Jumbay Village, I mean, as a child, I got the very tail end of that effort. It was a magnanimous vision. Even up till today, I still shiver when I think of all that it was accomplishing. And they shut it down.
They tried to kill the man.
They don't only kill him, they kill the children and your grandchildren too.
Everybody.
That's what I tried to tell you. And people who are smart, who could understand the history, who read about the history of that, they say, you know what, I don't need to get involved.
Lousy, no good politicians. And then years later, they won't celebrate the man. The same fellows who's in Rome try to kill him. It's the same fellows who now later on will cut ribbons and celebrate. The devil is a liar. Stand on your side, man, and stay there.
And then you're so focused on doing your dirt. Let me, give a shout out to Jeffrey Davis, if I may, Howard Grant. Jeffrey Davis, he opened my eyes to something this morning. He says, what have we done for Michael Sweetbells Thompson, the first recruited NBA first draft pick internationally in the NBA? And the man right there. And we ain't trying to remember him. We too focused on what? Our own legacies.
They come up and tell you, we're going to give the Golden Girls all of these things like that. The girls, years later, crying on the TV, ain't get nothing.
That's what he's saying. So
the fella said, give me a piece of property now. You got to find $15,000 just to put poles here and all these things.
But these are simple things.
We don't celebrate the ones that dedicate their lives.
And the people them who cower ain't helping us.
For the liberty that we have.
All we got to do is stand up and say we need these things.
Let me tell you something. Now, we can take this conversation in a different direction right now. And you ain't gonna like it. But
I ain't gonna like it?
No, I mean, like, people ain't gonna like what I say.
What you say?
They ain't gonna like what I say. But it's okay.
Let's go.
Call me and let's fight. The numbers are here. 32362.
You want to fight today?
I'm ready to fight. 323-6232, 325-4216, 325-4259, anywhere from the family of islands, 242-300-5720, or hit me up, 422-4796. Listen. No one has given me this opportunity. I have fought tooth and nail against this position I sit in right now. I need you to hear me.
Talk to them out. They think you live in good. Yeah, they think everything just falls in your lap. But go ahead.
I never wanted to do this, what I'm doing now. I never, it sounds like an illustrious job, like, oh my God, I can't believe, like, it's such a prestigious thing, right? But this is, like, no, I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do this. But there are some things that there's some things that are naturally in us, just naturally in us. And for want of a better word, we have to exploit that thing with the time that we have, the strength that we have, the strength of our youth. We have to pursue this thing that exists in us, this dream that exists in us. We have to pursue that thing. We have to. Unless you become an old man, bitter in your ways, and feel unfulfilled. You have to pursue that thing with all that you have.
Yes, you do.
Okay?
I'm with you so far.
Now, I don't have to go through the origin of how this particular thing started, but I must say to you that it only started with me listening into talk shows and then finding a way just to be able to make an article or send something to someone. That's how it started with Juan McCarthy.
But it starts, just use one word, sacrifice. It's a lot of, people don't even know this, but it's a lot of sacrifice to get to this space. A whole lot of sacrifice.
But I didn't do it to get here.
That's what I'm saying to you. It's just, that's why I said it's a sacrifice. They're just thinking, you found the rainbow, the pot of gold, and so now you're sitting in the space. Listen, it takes sacrifice. It takes a whole lot of investment, personal investment. The return on investment is you, the listeners, when you participate on the show like this. So, yeah, I'm with you, Howard Grant.
There are men in our politics today and men that were in our politics prior that have presented themselves convicted to the Bahamian populace. When they sat on your SETI, they came to your constituency, they came to your space, they said what they would do, and then they found themselves in the position of leadership. And when it came an opportunity for them to do that thing, they cowtailed, they backflipped, Grammy say, turned catgut. They did everything to fall in line with the agenda that's placed on the table within the confines of their organization, never having the strength to stand in conviction. Never. Never. With the increase of VAT from the Free National Movement, we saw a few men took on a very strong position because the Free National Movement has indicated on many occasions that this was a lazy way that they should be able to govern. That the increase of VAT, the increase of taxes is a lazy way to govern. And then all of a sudden the whip was on. This was the expectation for them. Travis Robinson, Reese Chipman.
You're going all the way back.
And
Vaughn Miller.
No, this ain't even all the way back.
You remember Vaughn Miller?
This ain't even all the way back, because if I want to go all the way back, I could take you even to a decision that was made in cabinet that Damian Gomez stood against. And he left. I could take you all the way back that there are men that stand with conviction and say, hell no, I can't do this, man. As bad as I want to be a part of this grouping, I can't do this. Not to the people who I've made a commitment to. And then after all of these things, we saw Reese Chipman, we saw Vaughn Miller, we saw Travis Robinson. And Travis Robinson, with the greatest respect, there was an expectation that he would hold that line.
Yes, there was an expectation.
There was an expectation because of his youth.
Yes, it was.
Because of his youth and his tenacity, the way that the Free National Movement found him, more specifically, the way that Prime Minister Minnis, former Prime Minister Minnis, had found him in the College of the Bahamas yard, it was an expectation that he retained that conviction. That did not happen.
And why do you think it didn't happen?
I don't know why it didn't happen.
I told you why it didn't happen.
I don't know why it didn't
because
happen.
The elephant was larger than the ant. This is what I'm trying to tell you about corruption. This is what I'm trying to tell you about the messiahs. Travis Robinson sat in a position where he himself was lifted up as a messiah. It was him. It was Reese Chipman. It was Frederick McAlpine Miller. And we saw Travis Robinson returning back to the elephant. We saw Reese Chipman just staying out in the wilderness. We saw Vaughn Miller making bold statements as if he were challenging the elephant, but at the same time, he was looking for, for this hippopotamus elsewhere, And then you had, what's his name, McAlpine, Frederick McAlpine. He's still out in the wilderness. We don't know what's going on with him. And so what we have done is we've discarded all of them. And now Travis Robinson is trying to get back into the limelight. Vaughn Miller was in the light but living in darkness. And the other two is where you put me.
My only point is
that's the story of the Messiah.
Their convictions to stand on the side of the Bahamian people when it came to this increase caused their political organizations to be able to go against them. And that's what happened.
The organization went against them, the four of them.
Individually.
Yes.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, because you went against the agenda of the organization.
And then those people who are participants in the organizations who was their comrades went against the leader.
Okay. This is a lot what we're saying right
I got to tell you what happened.
And then after all of this happened, these same people with no reformation, no transformation, right? I'm not talking about Chipman, Robinson, Miller, and McAlpine. I'm talking about the mindset that exists in this particular organization. After these people have been ousted, we had fired them. and we gave them some time off. Now they come with no reformation, no transformation, no realignment, no adjustment, no nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
All under a new banner and expect people to just gravitate towards them and vote for them. Did we forget?
This is what I'm talking about.
Did we forget? Did we forget that there were a lack of conviction here? Did we forget? You think we've forgotten that your commitment is to your organization? You think we've forgotten that the only thing that as soon as the whip is on within the confines of your organization, you forget that I pay you $28,000, but you need that 60. That's what you need. You need that 60.
I'm trying to tell you what's
You
going
need
on.
66. That's what you need.
Yeah.
Oh, you need that other money. Your allegiance has never been to us.
The allegiance was lost when you passed.
Your allegiance has never been to the Bahamian people. Your constituents, you are a liar.
They live the lie every day.
These people are liars. And when I come here and have a conversation about the fact that I don't want to align with perceived liars, I don't want to align with organizations who have said to us and committed to us that this is the path that we're going to take, and then come back and say, well, things have shifted, geopolitics and other things have happened, and we have to be able to make a decision that aligns with the favor of what's happening in America, the favor of what's happening in China, the favor of what's going to happen with CARICOM. Well, we need to be able to consider some stuff as it relates to what's happening with the global crisis and the change that's happening, and people can't eat today.
So when Prime Minister Perry Gladstone Christie and Prime Minister Hubert Alexander Ingram stepped out of the Progressive Labour Party for the first time, they were independents. And then we look at a situation like Granville McCartney, who was told to park the car from the very one who became an independent from the PLP and became the future leader of the FNM. When you go against the system, you go against the organization, the only result for you is you're banished. And when you're banished today, look at the person of Granville McCartney. Where is he in the wilderness? Here's a person who has the ability to lead. He has talent. He has poise. And he very well can stand as a leader of our generation. But what we do when we cower, I use the word cower again, into the backdrop of politics, we allow these people to die. And I said, Howard, if you stand up as the Messiah for 8 Mile Rock, you have to be prepared to die. And I know you've been prepared to die for some time, but you got children to live for. You have a legacy in your children to go ahead and prepare.
But I can't be afraid. Listen to me, God.
You're not afraid.
Listen to me, God.
You're not afraid.
I'm ready to go.
The people are telling you got to be sensible. Sensible is the word they use. This is what they say. Sensibility.
Sensible for what?
Sensibility is when you back off and allow.
Listen, you only sensible to be an ass later. That's all. You are perceived sensible now to confine yourself to the position of these particular organizations who don't want you to be able to do nothing for your constituency, and you still fall in the category of an ass later. So what you using sensibility for? Use passion, use conviction, use determination, use focus, use faith. What you using sense for? Sense ain't you good for nobody. Sense can be modified like facts. You got to use truth.
But this is the sensibility they said that has governed us from 1967. This is the sensibility they expect. This is why they say to you, there's only two party. It's only two party.
Well,
it's only two party.
Oh, Jesus, it's 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock. We got to stop. But I can tell you one thing. When Lyndon Pinlin decided to use his sense and say, we don't create no guns, we ain't got no bunch of coke fields, we ain't got no poppy, we ain't got no this, we can big America can't do it. You think the little Bahamas can do it?
That's sense.
Okay, that was sense.
Yeah.
And then what happened? The United States of America and all their elements made him as an individual look like an ass. He used his sense.
Let's talk about this after the break. My God, this is going to be heavy today. This is going to be heavy.
Quick break, guys. Get the news. Going to be right back after this.
Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
Here's a price list of some of the roofing material we carry at Pinder Enterprises. 5/8 pressure-treated roofing ply starting at $36.68. Gray Select Water Shield, $134.20 a roll. Felt, 15 pounds, $16.50. 30 pound, $19.80. Owens, Corning Duration Shingles, and Certain Teed Landmark Shingles, $56.56 a bundle. Gallon of roof cement, $33.47. All sizes treated dimensional lumber. And of course, we have all nails and all screws. We have 5/8 sheetrock, $28.76. Half-inch sheetrock, $22.18. All prices include VAT.
Contact Da Vinci Printing Innovators today for all your printing needs. Customized receipt books, NCR forms, invitations, event tickets, program booklets, business and ID cards, flyers, posters, and banners. There's scanning, printing, lamination, and binding services. Also, a variety of office supplies. No design? No problem. Dedicated graphic designers are ready to serve you. Da Vinci Printing Innovators, located in the Village Road Shopping Plaza. Stop in or call 677-2922 or browse services online at www.davinciprinting242.com, where printing is an art.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant, your company, the foundation, live and in full effect on this beautiful Tuesday. Out here in the city of Nassau, wherever you are listening into us, we say, all the best to you guys. Happy day, happy Tuesday, and we pray that you're good out there. I'm sitting here with Garth, being able to jam the way. Let's have a good conversation. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, anywhere for the Family of Islands toll-free number. Toll-free number. Your minutes is not going to be charged. Your phone won't be charged. 242-300-5720. 242-300-5720. You can hit me up on the text. 422-4796. Let's go right to the line. Call on the line. Go ahead. Call on the line. Go ahead. Hello?
Hello, is this a live show?
Yeah, this is a live show. Go ahead.
Am I actually speaking to Howard?
Yeah, this is me, sir. How you doing?
Good afternoon. I'm great and extremely grateful. How about yourself?
I'm grateful, man. All's well.
And good afternoon to your co-host.
Yeah, Garth. He's right here.
I think that's his name.
Yeah, Garth.
I have a question for him. I heard him mention the word Messiah at least twice. The question is, what does he mean when he uses Messiah? And I'm going to make this comment and then I'll hang up. Now, anytime there is communication, you have a sender and you have a receiver. And the meaning of the words have to be the exact same thing to the sender and the receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that and I will make another comment. The comment is the original meaning of the word Messiah might not be the same meaning that he's using today. As well use some terms like church and temple, and the original meaning of the church is not the same as it means today. So I just want some clarification because I might not have the same meaning that he has or the meaning that he's using. So I just want to get some clarification of what he's trying to say because a lot of things that he's saying is not making any sense to me.
Okay. I'll let him be able to explain it. Thank you so much for your call, my brother.
Yeah, the Messiah is just simply one that's anointed, one that has been purposed to lead, and one who's been purposed to deliver. That blessing falls on them. Their whole life speaks of exactly what they've been meant to be. Every leader is not a Messiah. There are people who have made themselves into leaders. And this is why I can be so hard on individuals who use the title leader when they actually lack leadership skills. You know, Dr. Miles Monroe spoke a lot to what leadership should be and what it should reflect. But natural leadership or natural purpose is something that comes from a higher power, a higher deity. And so when you are anointed, when you are, as they say, appointed, you live that lifestyle. You cannot veer from that because that is what you were purposed to be. That's just as simple as that.
Okay. Let me go to the next telephone call. Caller on the line. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller.
Good afternoon to the Messiahs.
Oh, Jesus.
I know Messiah. Go ahead, cousin. Go ahead, cousin.
I got either one right there. But on a serious note, can any one of you tell me, because I know we have departments, and each department get a budget, like a certain amount of money that they are allotted to spend for running, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, can you tell me if there's any department whose budget exceeds the interest that we pay on our national debt? I would like to know what that interest is that we pay, and what are the list of budgetary advances that's given to departments.
I'll have to study that. I'll have to go through it and be able to identify the budgets and then contrast that to the thing. I appreciate your telephone call, my brother, but I'll have to study that. I couldn't give you an answer right off the top. I'm sure an economist or an accountant who's paying attention to these things could be able to provide you that information, but I couldn't give you it right off the top. Let me see if I can get the next telephone call. Call on the line. Go ahead. Hello? Call on the line. 323-623-2, 325-431-6, 325-4259. Anywhere from the Family of Islands, 242-300, 5720, or hit me up 422-4796. You know, Garth, I just want to say this, because I listen to a lot of chatter. Mm-hmm. And I know that there is an obligation, a responsibility for those fanatics within the confines of their political organization to dampen the hopes, aspirations of individuals. And I believe that based upon our conditioning, based upon our society, based upon our position, that we have taken on this mindset from a cultural standpoint, and we seek to diminish, even in your mind, the hopes and aspirations that you have to be able to step up and step out. Mm-hmm. Right? So if a woman stands up and say, I'd like to give myself for public office, right? Let's say 8 times out of 10, her grouping, if she releases this information to her grouping, someone out of the grouping will discourage her. Girl, who? You, girl, these people is do this is boom, boom, boom. You won't get that involved in that. Mm-hmm. And they can call you this, they can call you that. Girl, if I was you, I would never do this, I would never do that, right? Mm-hmm. Despite the fact that throughout the course of your friendship, your relationship, you may have seen elements in this particular person that would be of great value and resource to the Bahamian populace if they are allowed to be able to execute in certain spaces. When they say, I have a desire to make a move forward, they are discouraged significantly from being able to step in that. Mm-hmm. Garth, I just want to be honest with you. There is something that of a great deal of these people. And it didn't have to be politics. Because some people won't get involved in politics for the wrong reason. They want to be seen. They want somebody to know their daddy last name.
I don't get it.
And they don't have no value to offer.
I don't get it.
They don't have no value to offer. They have no insight, no vision. They never do nothing in their constituency. They've never led in leadership capacities. They've never, nothing. But today they won't be able to offer something. No part of their life we can be able to identify whether or not they had these particular traits and prepared in preparation to be able to step into leadership. No part. No, there's no storyline that they could tell us to say that I was moving in this direction for a long time.
Well, let me put this to you then, right? And it's from the Guardian's page 2, on A2, that says, David says F&M policies strangle economy. Opportunity, right? And I just want to quote what it says here. Davis said the F&M, despite a leadership change, is the same party with the same ideas.
You could invert the F&M there and put the PLP.
That's like, and how you get on that already?
Because I don't know why politicians do this.
You picked that up just like that?
I don't know why politicians do this.
I always conceived you could catch on to what this fellow trying to say. I don't know why politicians but I was thinking the same thing.
He didn't write that for himself.
I was thinking the same thing because there's no difference between him, the last one, or the one before.
I would never say that.
I wouldn't say it.
I would never say that.
I would never say it. But I had to point it out to you. I read it. I'm reading it now.
He said it.
I am reading it now, and I'm like,
I would never say that despite a leadership change, there's no difference in the F&M. My God, despite a leadership change in the PLP from when Perry Christie took over, there's been no change in the PLP.
None.
Despite a leadership change from Perry Christie now to Brave Davis, there's been no change.
But you pick up on that quick, eh?
In the PLP. There may have been an inkling of a change within the organization when Cecil Wallace Whitfield would have stepped back to be able to lead let Hubert Ingram take over the organization. But the truth of the matter is that from a historic standpoint, we can't necessarily gauge that because the FNM never found victory until Hubert Ingram. So now it starts now. We judge the organization post-victory in their particular capacity. Now, internally, there's stalwart counsels and other persons who've been there long enough. They could give a different judgment and a different assessment than we can. But for the most part, the society gauge you post-victory. And post-victory, since Hubert Ingram won and found the leadership given over to Hubert Minnis, right?
This statement...
The FNM hadn't changed. I agree with Prime Minister Brave Davis. I agree with him 100%.
Yeah, this statement wasn't meant for FNMs or for people who are not PLPs. This is a PLP statement. This is just to let the PLP people know that we're now in campaign mode and we need all hands on deck.
100%.
Yeah, all hands are now on deck. That's all they want.
But Garth, I can't just listen to you talk garbage to me and be able to swallow that and say, well, my God, that's the truth. That's what's happening in our society.
But this is what they do.
You got to be able to assess this. You got to ask yourself a question. Has the PLP changed?
I got a call first thing this morning from my good friend, Dr. Marvin Smith, right? Pharmaceutical director. And we had a long talk about what is now occurring in the country in terms of the economy, in terms of the national health insurance, in terms of the pharmaceuticals, etc. And he said, Garth, you know, much of what's about to happen is unreal. And I said to him, you don't understand. This isn't supposed to happen. All the conversation now is in an effort to campaign. This is campaign time. I'm going to promise you heaven. I'm going to promise you angels. I'm going to promise you a tree of life. I'm going to promise you eternal life. I'm going to promise you pearly gates. I'm going to promise you everything you didn't get before. But guess what? It's on its way. And I have to let you know that I'm making plans for you. This is all about you. So I asked the question, who was it about for the last 3.5 years? Why couldn't it be about me? Did you feel it was about you? And he says here we stand with economic growth stronger than pre-pandemic levels, with new investments pouring in, with thousands more Bahamians in work than when they were last in office. How many Bahamians are still out of work? What type of economic growth are we talking about? Is it touching the average Bahamian's pocket? In terms of the cost of living, we're just now talking about ways that we could lower the cost of living, but we ain't feeling it yet. We're not feeling as if we have the ability to sustain ourselves. Every day in this country is now a hustle. This is a hustle. Things are hard. I asked my friend yesterday, Howard Grant, I said, man, listen here. I haven't registered my boat since pre-COVID times, you know, been busy trying to stay afloat, keep himself going. And he said, Garth, you know, the rates have gone up. We came out of all of these tragic occurrences, Howard Grant, and the rates are still going up. When do we, the people, get a break?
Inflation. It's inflation.
But when do we get a break?
We don't. When you die.
You can't boast of a greater economic growth, and I still can't find my way.
You get a break when you die.
This is what I'm trying to say to you.
When you lay down and you close your eyes, consider that your sleep. Because while you're in the land of the living.
But Howard, that's sad.
Of course
because there are
it's sad.
people every
and
now and then.
We
see them in the newspaper, these people taking their lives.
God, the only reason me and you having conversation on the People Radio and being able to amplify it to thousands and thousands of people is because it is sad. And someone needs to agitate for what needs to happen for the Bahamian people. Our responsibility is not to be able to genuflect and always align ourselves with government policies. We scrutinize those. That's what our responsibility is. We scrutinize it and we provide constructive criticism. Some people don't necessarily know how to do that, but we provide constructive criticism for the time and the dispensation that we live in. Not for what happened in the 90s, not for what happened in the early 2000s, not what happened in the 80s, for the time and the dispensation that we live in now. We scrutinize, we identify, and we say, if you do this, if you incorporate this, this, and this, we could find ourselves strengthened and move forward to this. Well, they don't do that. Politicians don't know that. The politicians, the template that a lot of the politicians use in this country is a template it's outused. It's outdated. No one uses that from a global standpoint. It's outdated, but they bring it to us. Like, this is an excellent thing. Let me take a telephone call. Caller, go ahead. Caller, go ahead.
Hey, what's up, man?
Everything good, man? What's happening with you?
Wonderful. Why you ain't called me and tell me about the crack honk, man?
No, I got your call the other day. My wife didn't make the crack honk yet. And I know she ain't going to do it now.
I should have charged you for that recipe.
My wife. Well, I do what I can let you know.
Yeah, man.
He talking about the castaways crack honk. He give me the recipe.
Oh, yeah?
The question I want to ask you, too. If you keep doing something over and over again and rowing about something over and over again, 50-something years, what that called? What I say that is?
Insanity.
Insanity. God,
yes, sir.
My boy, my beloved,
yes,
God,
sir.
You ain't give me the honey yet either, the gallon of honey.
Okay, and the bees make the honey, not me.
That's insane, yeah, but you know where to find the bee.
Well, I have a customer I tried to go in service tomorrow morning, and they told me I must come to them on Saturday morning. So
I need the bee, man. You're just like, you and I were just like politicians, man.
No, what happened? What time is every time I go to do beekeeping? And I think, but the state of this country, I got to go find something to do, man. I just.
Yeah, but then don't tell us out here the candidates. I mean the potential.
Okay, when I bring this honey, you can tell everybody I give you the honey. Because when you tell everybody that, guess what? I got more of y'all who need some more honey, though.
No, that's true too. But listen, man. Listen. We are an insane people. We got Al Jazeera listening. We got MSNBC listening to us every day. And all them people and locally and abroad listening to us rob about the same thing. We got the ships going down. We taking on water. We got one lifeboat to get us ashore. We ain't got to stay in that lifeboat.
The politicians
one lifeboat offering to take us ashore.
Politicians got up on a lock. The politicians in the lifeboat.
And what we can do, jump in the cold, icy water.
Well, you better learn to swim.
And everything. And hypothermia. Considered. Why behemoths like that, man? Why we like that? We need to make up our mind what we could do now.
How do you shake them up at this time? How do we get politicians to be more fearful? How would you use that word fearful earlier? How do we get them to realize that, you know what, there's something that I must do to retain, as opposed to me just simply feeling as if I'm entitled? How do we...
Punishment.
How do we punish?
Real punishment. Change.
How do you change?
Mark your ex crowd away.
Yeah, but if you do that, then all they think they need is a 5-year break period, rest period, and then they come back again in the next 5 years, older, grayer, less hair, a little bit wider, and they expect you to believe that they're rejuvenated and revived to be able to get the thing done that they didn't do the last time.
The problem what you ain't thinking about, Howard, when I say change, I don't mean none of them, the status quo. Change. That's the only thing of lick them with the swift punishment.
Would you can support Howard and 8 Mile Rock?
Howard is my boy. I'll support you, God. I know you ran before. But you still straddling the fence talking about who you going to put there. But these fellas can present all of their credentials on the table to you and Howard, but you still can't make up your mind to come out the house.
No, I got five constituencies every night calling me out saying, when the hell you going to reach? And I'm like, what the hell? It's only one man.
Well, the candidates for, these people on the ground, I've been around 60-something years, right? And I too, God, was asking the question, what you bring into the table.
Mm-hmm.
But for 62 years, I ain't get nothing, right?
Yes.
But I was talking to some other people of change, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can be honest with this nation. The couple of people I met with them other agents of change have already sponsored me a nice gift because I little handicap for my Christmas present, unbeknownst to me. That company has already did some forensic works with me in the United States from last week to the tune of some $1,200. And the agent of change was here last night in his campaign, a young fella in Sanibel, agent of change, and he assured me of some stuff that them other two party evening never dreamed of doing a day evening in the parliament yet.
That's what I like to hear.
They even ain't in yet. The forensic work I need that couldn't be done here, man, them agents a chance to pay for that $1,200 and then send that off to me.
I like things like that.
And you know what? There are people out there who are not even politically involved who do these things on a repeated basis.
Well, that's true too.
This is my normal lifestyle every day. See, I just got a call while here on the show. Someone called me to help them fix the boat. But I ain't going on the air to tell everybody I'm fixing people's boat. I giving people boat. I giving people car.
Well, anyway,
we do these things because we love our country.
You know too. I go on, I want my honey, and I will tell me how to crack on.
I can tell you. I appreciate the telephone call, guys. The lines are wide open. Please enjoy, join in the conversation. 323-623-2, 325-4316, 325-4259. Anywhere for the family of violence, 242-300-5720, or you can hit me up on the text line 422-4796. I just want to be able to be honest with people. The agitation. I read something last night that says a lot of people who James put this thing out. James Julmus, right? You know James. So James say everybody and their mom want to get involved in politics. I think you should. I think if it's not necessarily putting your name on a ticket as an independent, if it's not the alignment of these things, even if you get involved in a political organization, carry your influence and your convictions with you in those organizations, the FNM or the PLP.
When you come
I think
back,
you should.
When you come back, I want to hear about that book that you spoke about. And then I want to know why people want to get involved in politics when they never helped nobody before they got in. These people ain't into nobody. And yet we still voting with these people. Nobody knows what they've done in the community. They ain't nobody, and we still putting them in the House Assembly.
My God. Quick break, guys. Going to be right back after this.
Foundation.
The Foundation with Howard Grant. We'll be back right after this.
The foundation.
Everybody Wins Live is bringing you the ultimate giveaway, a brand new Cybertruck. For every $30 spent, you're in the drawing for the ultimate grand prize, a Cybertruck. Drawn live at the Vibes Cartel concert March 29th. You'll also be automatically entered to win tickets to see the world boss himself. 25 lucky winners every single week. Visit everybodywinslive.com to get into the game. See website for full terms and conditions. Must be 18 or over to participate.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
What if I told you Wendy's has a new burger? With a flavor so secret, it's almost too delicious to handle. Well, now it's time to unlock that flavor. Try the new Sweet and Smoky Barbecue Cheeseburger. We can't tell you everything, but we can tell you that it's packed with flavor, including our secret barbecue sauce. Try the new Sweet and Smoky Barbecue Cheeseburger today. Available for a limited time.
Great news! Ron's Electric Motors' new location on Cowpen Road, right next to Island Luck, is open Saturdays and Sundays. So for those needing repairs on electric motors, generators, welding machines, water pumps, battery chargers, electric lifts, transformers, and power tools, Ron's Cowpen Road location can have you up and running on weekends. Don't forget, you can still visit Ron's Electric Motors on Wolf Road and Claridge Road, and now Ron's new location on Cowpen Road. Dial 356-0249 or 323-5267.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant, your company, The Foundation. Guys, I often enjoy this. You know, this is something that we do. I'm sitting here with Garth Roseborough. Garth asked me to be able to speak more specifically about a book that I'm reading. Now, I read this book, and you know, a lot of people would call me a conspiracy theorist and say that I'm running into conspiracies and so forth and so on. But this is a book by a gentleman who was a chief economist in his particular field instead. And his training, right? If you go through the book, his training was to be what they jokingly called, in the book, he says, they jokingly called an economic hitman, right? EHM, right? That's exactly how they call it, EHMs, right? So in the book, he starts to talk about, and this stood out to me. I highlighted this in the book. I'll just give you sort of a synopsis of this. Is the New Confessions of an Economic Hitman, John Perkins discusses the inception of modern economic manipulation tactics, highlighting that a 1953 coup in Iran as a pivotal event. He describes how Kermit Roosevelt Jr., the grandson of President Teddy Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt, orchestrated the overthrow of Iran's democratically elected Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh, right? He says this covert operation, known as Operation Ajax, was initiated after Mossadegh nationalized Iran's oil industry, threatening Western oil interests. Roosevelt's mission, this is Kermit Roosevelt, right? Roosevelt's mission involved bribing officials, spreading propaganda, and organizing protests to create instability, ultimately leading to Mossadegh's ousting and the reinstatement of the Sheikh, Mohammad Raza Pahlavi, right? And then he goes on to be able to talk about that this event marked a significant shift in U.S. foreign policy, demonstrating the effectiveness of economic and political interventions without direct military involvement. So this was covert operations designed to be able to pull down government strategically. If you read this book, you would identify and realize what loans are for. This is just the empowerment of debt has placed them in a particular position. So if you read these books and you have a very clear understanding of how we have governed ourselves over the years, why would we find ourselves in debt? And then you'd realize that there is an obligation beyond our shores. Every single juncture in our existence, both internally and externally, benefits others. It never benefits the Bahamian people. At every juncture, when after these politicians come to us and they make allegiance about what they're going to do in the constituency, if we vote for them, the first thing that they do is they pledge their allegiance to Her Majesty, heirs, successor, or His Majesty, the heirs and the successors in perpetuity. Their allegiance has never been to the Bahamian people. Even as they look like us, come from our community, their allegiance is external.
So when they say you're independent, Howard Grant, what they basically trying to tell you is that you're on your own.
Of course.
You're on your own.
Of course you're on your own.
That's it.
But
you ain't got no power on your own, but you're on your own like the forgotten child.
No, we say independence, but the truth is that it's self-governance. If you break it down and identify it, it's self-governance, right? So it still gives you this sort of a tether to Britannia or Britain.
Let me break it down again then. You have the king who's in England. You have their government. They gave us what we call, in quote, independence. We have what you said, self-governance, which is here locally in our nation, the archipelago of the Bahamas. We have a parliament, we have a prime minister, etc. They taken care of. The cabinet is taken care of. The Senate is taken care of. All of these infrastructural things are taken care of, is what I'm trying to say to you. The one who is truly independent is the citizen, because they're not going to take care of them. That's what I try to tell you.
Yeah.
They're taken care of minimally, just enough to keep them alive to say you are a nation.
This is my plight.
But in terms of actually putting them to the place where they are heirs and successors of the independence away from Mother England, we got to simply say, boss man, you're a vagabond. You basically might as well say you banished here, and you got to find your own way. That's all I'm simply saying.
But this is the plight that I have. The reason that I speak is not to be able to turn you away from your political organization, but to at least turn on. Okay, so my desire to be able to be affiliated with the Free National Movement was to carry my convictions in the organization. That's it. I wanted to carry what I believe for transformation in the organization. I wanted to revive this hope and idea of the free national movement, right? To be able to move towards this
But
particular.
the system don't allow
right?
that.
No, the system.
And the organization will allow that.
The Negroes wouldn't allow that.
No.
The system.
You come and you
I
become
gotta
like
get to
them.
the system.
Yeah, you become like them and they tell you what to do. You don't come and they're trying to tell us what to do.
Okay, so you got to be able to give up this particular hope. Me and Branville, no, well, not Branville so much, but Chris. I didn't tell Chris. I said, Chris, whilst he was living with us, God rest the dead. But whilst Chris was living, I said to him, I said, Chris, I didn't leave organizations such as the Free National Movement to be able to come here for you to do the exact same thing. There has to be a different way that we approach these particular things with transparency, with honesty, with persistence, and this conviction, right? And so that was, you say, Howard, these are how things go, this is how things go, and all these particular things.
Let me just say it plainly then. We have a third party that's very, I guess, it's very apparent that they're working. Someone called in today and said they're doing all these miraculous things for them, right? But there's only one face you hear on a continuous basis. That's similar to that of the other two
you have
parties.
to fix that.
But I'm saying to you, you got to go in there. Okay.
You have to fix that.
And I know Graham might be listening now, right? Graham as a person for me is so well spread and spoken throughout this nation, but even he has cut back. And the people who are involved in that party,
they have to fix that.
You don't hear nothing from them, so you basically have a one-man gang.
No, they
have
have
a
to fix
deputy that's not out there. The chairman pops up every now and then, but like the other two parties, PLP and F&M, there's one man, one voice on the other national TV, on the national radio, on all of the different programs. Only one man is responsible for everything in this organization, and this is how politics is in the Bahamas. We turn everything over to the one man.
No, but leadership should actually. Okay, so when Jeffrey Lloyd was over at Bahama, right? He led an institute, right? The institute was for empowerment. Now, when you go to these particular spaces, if you become a colony, right, as a colony, there is a responsibility to be able to send a governor or someone to lead the charge.
Oh, yeah.
No, but the responsibility is to be able to convert your thinking.
Yeah.
There has to be a conversion of your thinking. If I have a new establishment, I have to have someone to oversee this and convert your thinking of how things you would have done earlier. Okay. In this book that I'm reading right now, when the Indonesian president took over, there was a bunch of languages in the archipelago, in their archipelago, and everyone was speaking different. It was pirates and all these particular things. The first thing he did is he identified one language.
Which was English.
That was Bahasa. Right? Bahasa, right? Bahasa is a form it's very easy to learn. And that particular form was designed to be able to ensure that everyone spoke in the same tongue. No matter what district you were from, everyone spoke in the same tongue. When you find yourself in the position that you are being able to oversee something,
does it say in the Bahamas?
You need no.
Oh.
This is the book I was reading.
It's talking about the Bahamas. Okay, go ahead.
When you find yourself in these particular positions, the first thing that you have to do is transform the mind, transform their thinking, transform their language.
Yeah.
If the Coalition of Independents don't recognize that they need a leadership institute, that they need an empowerment institute, that they need a space that they could be able to empower all persons in the same language, this is the language of independence that we speak, so it's not fragmented. When you go onto the media, when you go onto your cell phone and all these particular things, they're going to lose momentum. There should not only be one voice. There should be empowerment centers, even if Lincoln won't take that particular post and position. But now that when you disperse people, everyone can speak in one language. The PLP does this very well.
Yeah.
The PLP does this very well. Mm-hmm. The Free National Movement, not so much. When you get closer to elections, then you find a sense of unity with the Free National Movement. But you need to be able to have an organization that speaks in one language, that empowers everyone, that even if leadership isn't here, that I can be able to recite exactly the position that the leadership
took
on.
This is what you were speaking to, and this is why we're saying we're waiting for these candidates, because we have not heard that strength of that voice as yet. And we just feel that should be necessary at this particular time. Right now, it's not even about winning the next election. I don't know if that's their thinking, that all we need to do is to win the next election, because surely the PLP is thinking that way.
100%.
100%. But with the Free National Movement, we're saying to you, right now, the people of the Bahamas are hurting, and they need to hear from you. They need to feel you. They need to understand that, you know what, there is an answer to what we're now going through, and we're not getting that. I don't know if I could say it any plainer than that.
No, I think their position is, and I got to take the telephone call, the lines are wide open, ladies and gentlemen. I think that their position is they're trying to be perfect.
No, man.
Yeah, I think this is what I sense, right? This is what I sense. They want to send you the perfect candidate.
You think that exists?
No, the perfect candidate doesn't exist. But whatever pushback they're going to get, they need as least resistance as possible. So they're making decisions to be able to give you the perfect candidate that you don't necessarily have any qualms with.
That's a weak form of leadership. I keep saying
I don't know if that's weak.
That is weak.
I don't know if that's
Boss
weak,
man,
but
listen
that's
to
their
me.
strategy.
But no, that can't be no strategy. My thing is that, listen here, when David slept with the man's wife, he couldn't be weak about fixing that problem.
Uriah.
Yeah. He sent the man not to the back of the battle. You go into the front, my boy.
So you could die for sure.
Yeah, you could die.
For sure.
So we can house some of those candidates that need to die. They need to die before the election so we can change them out. Because everyone who you think is perfect is not going to be perfect.
No, but this scenario that you're speaking,
but
this scenario that you're speaking for the FNM, this scenario is obviously for the PLP. Some of them got to die out.
They don't have to die yet because you won't send me nobody to show me I need to die.
That's a good point. Let's take a telephone call. Caller, go ahead.
Hey.
Hello?
Hey, Howard.
Hey, what's happening?
Everything good. Hey, God.
Yes, sir.
I want to share something with you, right? Listen to this, right? Howard get on into.
Oh, Jesus. Howard Joe, but go ahead.
You know, I listen to you all every day, right?
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
And I'm going to share something. You made the statement a little earlier that what they doing for us or what we could feel what they doing, right? But do you know every day I listen, not only to this talk show, many other talk shows.
Yes, sir.
Everybody promoting the PLP and the FNM, right? They promoting them. They doing what the FNM supposed to be doing, but they doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about whether they doing good, whether they doing bad. Same thing with the PLP, whether they doing good or whether they doing bad. But at the end of the day, it's a promotion because now people looking at what y'all saying and they ain't got to worry about what the FNM and the PLP saying. But at the end of the day, right, God, that's what I really want to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
You have a business, right?
No, I'm just a businessman.
Huh?
I'm just a businessman.
Are you?
No, I don't have a business. I'm a
But I
businessman.
hear you say earlier that you was fix what is it name? Boat and thing like that.
I could do that. I could do beekeeping.
Okay.
I could do farming.
Okay,
I'm
I
a
can
plumber.
tell you what I just do.
I could fix houses.
I'm not a PLP. I'm not a FNM. I'm not none of them people. There.
No, I'm goth. I'm not none of me. I'm just goth. But go ahead.
I'm a nationalist. Right?
But I'm goth. Go ahead.
Right, but that's what I want to share with you.
Mm-hmm.
I have an organization by the name of Wow Expression of Love. And I have PLP, FNM, DNA, Coalition, all of them
Very
support
good.
me.
Very good.
Right?
Very good.
All of them, Howard support me, Naughty support me,
Mm-hmm.
Chicago Line support me. But what I say that to say this, whatever the PLV and the FNM do, we can't stop that. But you know what we could do? We could make a difference in our little community.
That's correct.
My organization, we reach out to the vulnerable people. See? That's what we reach out for. So, I don't promote it. Howard don't promote it. Naughty don't promote it. But I find means and ways, by the grace of God, how to go and make things happen.
Amen.
With an organization that will be able to make things happen for other people. And I believe God, honestly, I know how it is to do it in his way. But God, I believe if we could get all the people that is becoming on them talk show and thing talking about what the government don't do and what the government need to do and what this, I believe if all of them just put in their mind to say, you know what, let me go make a difference and stop hurting my head with the government. Because the government can do what they can do. At the end of the day, what we can do to make our little nation a great nation.
Amen.
I like that. That's a good telephone call, my brother. Thank you, Brother Wallace, for being able to do that. I like that. We talked about it. FNM have a plan. PLP have a plan. Only people without a plan is us as the electorate. Let's take a quick break, guys. Going to be right back after this.
Foundation. Foundation.
The Foundation. We'll be back right after this.
The foundation. The foundation. The foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
try to rest, but roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and banners, magazines and flyers, for window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it. Just give us a call. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located at the Nassau Guardian, telephone 302-2361.
Always on the go? Missed the show? You can now listen to Guardian Radio talk shows anytime, anywhere on Spotify and YouTube by searching Guardian Radio 96.9 FM or by entering the name of your favorite show. You can also listen by logging on to GuardianTalkRadio.com and clicking on the podcast tab. Guardian Radio, continuing to provide you with fresh news and smart talk anywhere, anytime, all day.
It's time to upgrade the way you enjoy at-home entertainment. Alive Fiber is here. Enjoy all your favorite channels and streaming apps, all at lightning-fast internet speeds with affordable bundles, and it's only a click away. Visit www.alivefiber.com to sign up now. Stay connected, live your life. It's good to be alive.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. Foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio, Howard Grant and your company, the foundation. As we get closer to the next general election, this is obviously apparent. A lot of persons are indifferent. A lot of persons are pushing back and seeking to be able to do things the traditional way, the comfortable way, the way that they know. But it's important that the Bahamian people wake up. And I'm grateful to voices that are out there. I'm not talking about me as an individual. I'm talking about on TikTok, right? Even the sarcasm associated with it, how we take these things so serious and how the young people see humor in that is an enlightening thing. It breaks up persons to be able to not take these things so serious, but to have the conviction to understand that your political organization is not the be-all that ends all here in the country. And so I like to be able to see that. I want to encourage all those persons to be able to wake up and look beyond the sphere, look beyond the borders, the horizons of your political organizations, which that horizon is just really by your nose and your foot. That don't go nowhere beyond that. You got to lift your head up a little higher to understand that this country is bigger than your party. And that the tribulation that we suffer and we endure is not relegated or identified only for the FNMs or only for the PLPs. It is us as a nation. We're going through hell, God. Talk to me.
We're going through hell. And Howard, you've given some suspicion that the possibility still exists for another snap election. I don't know how that's going to fare. But with the Free National Movement not concrete.
I get a couple calls to say the same thing, by the way. That ain't me. I'm saying if we read the tea leaves and we identify these things with speculations, with allegations, with all these things that are happening, it'll be best if I was in a position of power and I understood what I have before me to pertain that and what is against me, I would have to make a decision. And this decision would, in my view, would be a snap election that you catch the FNM off guard, you could fix a couple of things, you get a new mandate for the Bahamian people, and you could keep pushing forward for your tenure.
So let's say you were smart enough, I'll use the word smart, I want to be nice, and you called for an election in the next 6 months. Is that possible?
Of course, anything is possible.
That puts you right back to September.
The time the election happens have nothing to do with nothing. Only culturally you look at September as a particular time going back to school. Nobody care about none of that. We need a mandate. We need our government to be aligned.
So if that happens and you have not yet named your candidates, do you see the Bahamian people
the Free
readily...
National Movement over by the end of this month, I believe. Now, I don't know their business. I'm going to be honest with you. Nobody's called me and tell me, Howard, this is an update on the FNM. If I want to find out, I have strategic people that I call, and then I ask, and they are open with me. And then they ask me, Howard, please don't talk about the FNM bad. Right? I'm telling you, right? But nonetheless, I have strategic people that I would ask. I have enough friends in the organization that I could ask, hey, what's going on? Boom, boom, boom. Right? And that's in the internal core of the council that I can be able to ask. But I haven't been paying attention.
With all these many aspirants, you figure by the end of this month, we should see
by
some
the end of this month,
of concrete evidence that these
by the end of this
will
month,
be the
by
candidates of choice.
mid-April, right, as we come out of a Lenten season, as we come out of this particular time, and you'll see people. Now, this is historically what they've done. Lent is a quiet time. After Lent, everybody's hit the road. You know that's true.
Yes.
Okay. Lent is a quiet time. You give up some things. You don't bother with some things.
Except for the last election.
Right?
The last election, they didn't give a hoot for Lent.
They didn't give it that, right?
No.
Right?
No.
But you pull back on some of these things during this Lent time, and then right after Lent, they hit the road. You'll be able to see some boots on the ground. I believe a lot of things should be settled by then. Now, I don't know whether or not they'll be identified as a specific candidate. I don't know whether or not someone will be tapped to say, I want you in this constituency, I want you in this constituency, I want you to support this particular person. But I believe that you will be able to see the FNM level out in those particular areas.
So are they waiting for the Boundary Commission to say these are the definite areas or the definite constituencies for the next upcoming
I don't think that
election?
they should. The only speculations and the conversations that I've heard about the Boundaries Commission is to be looking at two constituencies, right? Those two constituencies, one being
Bimini, Berry Islands.
Bimini and Berry Islands becoming one constituency unto itself.
And Kalani.
And then Kalani.
And Golden Isles.
Kalani being able to find itself back in the position of Clifton. That's the only two that I've heard. I've heard some speculation about a shift in the possibility of a shift in Freetown and being able to move some things in there. But I haven't heard, as with concrete evidence, the Boundary Commission hasn't met as yet.
And it seems
They
like
haven't met us
it
yet.
seems like they're waiting on that.
The Boundary Commission hasn't met us yet.
Okay.
There are speculations on both sides of the fence. The FNM speculate that, and only because the numbers in the country have increased significantly.
And that's why I said just throw your candidates out there. If they change the boundaries, then you make the
No, but
adjustment.
if you throw the candidates out there beforehand, and there's a strong candidate who has familiarity in these particular boundaries, then they possibly don't change. So you just got to be patient.
Oh man, I can't be patient. Just change it.
You got to be
Just
patient.
change it.
You could possibly send someone to be able to do some scouting on the ground and start touching some people.
PLP does that well.
They do that very well.
Very well.
They do that very
So
well.
what the FNM waiting on?
But the FNM, but the I Watch This Woman Association thing, and the moderator tell them, you don't have to say nothing. Just tell you what your name is, so forth and so on. Everyone, hi for this constituency, that constituency, hi for this. I laugh. Heather Hunt grabs the mic. She says, I'll do what the moderator says. I'm Heather Hunt, right? And I laugh, and I'm watching it, right? But I laugh at those particular things because the truth of the matter is that everyone's enthusiastic and excited about telling you that I'm coming your way. You see what I'm saying? But the truth of the matter is that there isn't a proper format laid out just yet. So you can't give these fellas no ammunition. This is a battle, this war. And so you want to be able to see all those things. So I believe that the Free National Movement will put some candidates out there. I'm hoping that the candidates are strong. And I know that the PLP will continue to be able to identify their strength. I think they have to make a couple modifications.
You think so?
Yeah, man.
Any hints of that? Any word on the ground about that?
For the PLP?
Yeah.
I've been hearing that there's a possibility that some people would step back gracefully. It won't be the unceremonious.
I haven't heard of anybody saying that.
No, it won't be the unceremonious discharge.
No.
Then you hear people saying
Maybe
things
a
like,
phone
"Oh, this
call.
one ain't getting no more."
Your phone call
Or
say
this one decided they can do something different.
Leave that alone, baby.
When you hear things
Leave it alone,
as an
baby.
incumbent candidate, and you hear people say things like, "Well, I'm considering doing something else. I've had enough of this."
I mean, it's a call was made.
That's
Call was made. I got you.
because your consideration you would never consider that.
No, sir.
As far as you can say, let's go until the wheels fall off.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Talk to me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree. I agree.
But when you start to see them take on a humble, meek position and say, well, I've had my fill of this. And
Lies. Just talk on bearing false witness against thy neighbor. You got one call there. Let me take one of them calls from you.
I've had my fill of this, and I just want you to know that.
Lies.
Call on the line. Go ahead.
Howard.
Hey, what's up?
I call you and God back to officially hand your medals of insanity. Because you all keep talking about the FNM and the PLP. You only look at the state of our country, and yes, there is another language we are forced to learn, God and Howard. Sak passe nabule kote PLP. Thanks for taking my call.
Oh, my God.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Let's take the next telephone call. Last call. Call on the line.
Yes, how you doing? Hey, Howard, God, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, Seattle?
Yeah, let me just first say the other party is a one-man band with Google, AI.
But I don't like how you keep diminishing these people's position. I don't like that. I don't like how you. But this is everyone has an opportunity.
Right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, in the same way, I could critique the prime minister's speeches and tell when it's right and everything else. That's what I do.
But do we diminish what was cast by the prime minister simultaneously?
No, because Howard, if you do for plans, right, that even bring it out, and this is not something new. This is something I've been doing for 15 years. I used the technology thing for example. Let's go back to 2006. I don't know if you remember this. When Pegasus Wireless came out, I said that company won't last a year. It died.
I remember that. They had all sorts of small groupings and meetings to ask whether or not they asked me to come on one of those things, and we talked about it. Yes.
But when GIBC came out and I said won't. When they came out and said they're going to have digital, I said it will never happen. It's been exactly 22 years.
But my point to you is this.
I speak which my expertise is. And I think it's the new technology that's available in the marketplace.
Okay, so I want to say this to you. Because AI is recently new, I don't know if to get the certification. We understand that the prompts people are using this the world over with the incorporation of these things. There's no expectation that leadership, both locally, especially if they're out of the confines.
Let me say how when you do a plan for the
but there's no expectation technology. They can use the new technology.
No, I'm saying you can use text of the Bahamas and understand the situation. You don't solve another country's problem. So that's like you being the doctor, and then you're going to diagnose me to fix my prostate, but I don't have one.
Okay. Go ahead. What you think? You got 10 seconds. Go ahead.
I'm saying we have to raise the level, right? That same point that we in the age of, we can actually now question not just these things, but how you will do them in the age of context. In the same not been done and what is possible. If we we need to move the country to the 21st century. The same very tools we need for development, not for BSing us, we could actually begin to test these individuals as to what they're capable of doing.
Well, see, Alan, and how they got to show us the platform. They got to show us the platform. We haven't even seen the platform they're talking about. They keep talking about this platform. I haven't seen the proof of anyone who wants to do that.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. We're going to dive deeper into these conversations and continue to be able to talk about national growth and development from various perspectives. But I just want to encourage you, whatever way you could possibly do that, whatever way you see your passion churning you and propelling you in one direction or another, get involved in leadership, in national discourse, and find a way to be, and do it from a constituency first approach. You don't got to come up here and cuss the prime minister on the hill. Deal with your constituency first. And then we can be able to see some things happen. Guys, I'm going to see you tomorrow on God's Spirit right here on The Foundation.
The Foundation.